Have you ever paused and asked yourself, what if today was the last day I had left? Not in a melodramatic sense, but with real honesty. Would you still spend hours scrolling through social media? Would you put off that call to an old friend? Would you delay chasing your dreams just one more day? Most people don't realize how quickly time slips away until it's already gone. They assume they'll always have tomorrow, next week, or 5 years from now to do what matters most. But life doesn't work that way. The truth is, time is finite, fragile, and unforgiving. Consider this story. Sarah was a bright, ambitious woman in her early 30s. She had dreams of writing a novel, traveling the world, and building a business that made a difference. Yet, year after year, she told herself, "I'll start next year." By the time she turned 40, she realized she hadn't written a single page, hadn't taken a single trip, and hadn't launched anything beyond a LinkedIn profile. Her days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and distractions, but no real fulfillment. When she finally sat down to write, she broke down, realizing she'd wasted nearly a decade waiting for the perfect moment that never came. This isn't just about procrastination, it's about misjudging the true value of time. People often confuse longevity with abundance. Just because we might live into our 70s or 80s doesn't mean we have unlimited moments to waste. Every hour spent on meaningless tasks, every day lost to indecision, every year passed without action, it all adds up. And once those hours are gone, there's no reclaiming them. Unlike money, which can be earned back, or opportunities, which may come again, time is non-renewable. Once it's spent, it's gone forever. So why do so many people take their time for granted? Because it feels infinite when you're young. But the older you get, the more you realize how fast it passes. That's why learning this lesson early, before it's too late, is crucial. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, because the only time guaranteed to you is this very second. And even that is slipping away as you read these words. Number 1, change demands more than wishes. It requires your full commitment. Why do so many people dream of change yet remain stuck in the same place? It's easy to wish for a better life, to imagine waking up with more freedom, more success, or more peace. But wishing alone changes nothing. Real transformation doesn't happen overnight, nor does it arrive on its own. It demands effort, sacrifice, and above all, unwavering commitment. If you want to break free from where you are, you must be willing to give everything, not just some of your time, not just part of your energy, but your full, undivided dedication. Take the case of Marcus, a man who spent over a decade working a stable corporate job. He hated his daily grind, felt trapped by routine, and longed for something more meaningful. For years, he talked about starting his own business, something creative, something fulfilling. He would research, plan, and even sketch out ideas during lunch breaks. But whenever he got close to taking the leap, fear held him back. What if he failed? What if he lost everything? So instead, he stayed in the safety of his paycheck, convincing himself he would start soon, once things settled down. Then, at age 42, Marcus was laid off. Suddenly, the security he had clung to for so long vanished overnight. With no job and dwindling savings, he had two choices: wallow in regret or finally act on his dream. This time, he chose differently. He poured every ounce of effort into launching his own design studio, sacrificing sleep, comfort, and short-term stability. He worked long hours, took risks he had previously avoided, and endured countless setbacks. But within 2 years, his business was thriving. Not because luck finally favored him, but because he finally gave it his all. Marcus's story illustrates a fundamental truth. Change doesn't favor the passive. It favors those who commit fully even when the outcome is uncertain. Many people hesitate because they fear failure, but what they fail to realize is that half-hearted attempts guarantee disappointment. You cannot expect extraordinary results from minimal effort. True transformation requires discomfort, persistence, and the willingness to face failure head-on. Think about any great achievement, whether in art, science, sports, or entrepreneurship. None of them happened without struggle. Those who succeed aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They simply refuse to give less than their best. They embrace the process, knowing that growth comes from pushing past limits, not avoiding them. So ask yourself, are you giving your goals your full attention, or are you holding back, hoping change will find you? Because if you're not fully committed, if you're still hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment, it's time to reevaluate. Anything worth achieving demands your best. No exceptions. Number 2, the cost of complaining. How negativity holds you back. How much of your life have you spent complaining? About traffic, work, relationships, the weather, about everything and nothing? Complaining feels satisfying in the moment, like a temporary release of frustration. But here's the truth: it solves nothing. In fact, constant complaining creates a cycle of negativity that blinds you to solutions and drains your energy. Instead of empowering you, it traps you in a mindset of helplessness. And worst of all, it becomes a habit, one that slowly erodes your ability to take control of your circumstances. Let's look at the story of James, a talented software developer who constantly found himself frustrated with his job. He didn't hate the work itself. He enjoyed coding and problem solving. But he disliked his manager, the company culture, and the lack of recognition. Instead of addressing these issues directly, James fell into the trap of complaining. He vented to coworkers, posted sarcastic comments on social media, and replayed his grievances in his mind every night. Over time, his negativity hardened into resentment. He stopped trying to improve his situation because deep down, he believed nothing would change. Months turned into years, and James remained stuck. His skills stagnated, his motivation faded, and eventually, he was laid off. Only then did he realize how much time he had wasted focusing on complaints rather than solutions. Had he taken initiative, spoken to his manager, sought mentorship, or explored new opportunities, he might have changed his trajectory. But by allowing complaints to define his mindset, he unknowingly sabotaged his growth. This pattern repeats itself in countless lives. People complain about their jobs but never seek better opportunities. They gripe about their relationships but avoid difficult conversations. They lament their health but refuse to make lifestyle changes. Complaining gives the illusion of action, but it leads nowhere. It keeps you stuck in a loop of frustration, reinforcing the belief that you are powerless to change your reality. Instead of wasting energy on complaints, channel that effort into problem solving. Identify what's truly bothering you and take steps to address it. Is your job unfulfilling? Look for ways to grow within your field or explore new roles. Are you unhappy in a relationship? Have an honest conversation rather than letting resentment build. Are you dissatisfied with your health? Make small, sustainable changes rather than resigning yourself to poor habits. Negativity breeds more negativity, but action breeds progress. Stop feeding the cycle of complaints and start seeking solutions. Because the sooner you stop dwelling on problems and start solving them, the sooner you reclaim control over your life. Number 3, regretting missed opportunities, the pain of not trying. As people approach the later stages of life, psychologists have found that their deepest regrets rarely stem from mistakes they made, but rather from chances they never took. Younger individuals often dwell on errors, embarrassing moments, failed relationships, or poor decisions. But as they age, these concerns fade. Instead, older adults frequently express sorrow over paths not pursued, risks not taken, and dreams abandoned before they could be tested. These missed opportunities become lifelong burdens, haunting them with the question, what if I had tried? Consider the story of Elena, a woman in her 60s who spent most of her life working a steady corporate job. She had always dreamed of becoming a writer, but convinced herself she lacked the talent and discipline to succeed. Whenever the thought surfaced, she dismissed it, telling herself she was too old, too inexperienced, or that her ideas weren't good enough. She watched others publish books, start blogs, and share their stories, but she remained on the sidelines. Then, in her late 50s, she suffered a minor stroke that forced her into early retirement. During her recovery, she picked up a pen and started journaling her thoughts. As the pages filled, she realized how much she had wanted to write all along. Elena decided to take action. She enrolled in a writing course, joined online workshops, and eventually published a memoir detailing her life experiences. Though she received positive feedback, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had waited too long. She had spent decades believing she wasn't ready, only to discover that readiness was something she created through action, not permission granted by time or circumstance. This is a common theme among those who reflect on their lives too late. Fear of failure, uncertainty, and self-doubt prevent people from stepping outside their comfort zones. They convince themselves that they need more experience, more confidence, or the perfect moment before they can pursue their ambitions. But the truth is, those conditions rarely materialize. Waiting for certainty ensures that action never comes. Meanwhile, time continues to pass, and opportunities slip away unnoticed. Regret over missed opportunities is particularly painful because it is rooted in choice. Unlike unavoidable hardships, these regrets stem from decisions to avoid risk. People look back and wonder what could have been if they had applied for that job, traveled to that country, or expressed their feelings to someone important. The weight of these questions grows heavier with each passing year, making it clear that inaction is often the greatest mistake of all. To avoid this fate, embrace the idea that it's better to try and fail than to never try at all. Mistakes offer lessons, while missed chances offer only lingering doubt. Life is too short to live with the burden of, what if? Take the risk. Pursue the dream. Regret the attempt far less than you will regret the hesitation. Number 4, the power of spontaneity, breaking free from routine. There's a strange comfort in routine. Waking up at the same time, following the same schedule, eating the same meals, and falling into predictable patterns provides a sense of control in an unpredictable world. But too much structure can become a cage. The more rigidly you cling to your routines, the more you risk missing out on unexpected joys, meaningful connections, and life-changing opportunities. Spontaneity, the ability to act on impulse, take risks, and embrace the unknown, is often overlooked as a vital ingredient for personal growth and happiness. Take the example of Daniel, a man in his early 30s who lived a life dictated by schedules. He woke up at 6:30 a.m., followed a strict morning workout routine, ate the same breakfast every day, and meticulously planned his week down to the smallest detail. While this structured lifestyle gave him a sense of control, it also left him feeling empty. He wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't fulfilled either. One weekend, a friend invited him on an impromptu road trip to a coastal town 3 hours away. Daniel hesitated. His plans for the weekend were already set, but something inside him nudged him to say yes. That spontaneous decision led to one of the most memorable weekends of his life. He met new people, discovered hidden beaches, and shared conversations that challenged his perspectives. On the drive back, he realized how much he had been missing by sticking so tightly to his routines. From that point forward, he began incorporating small bursts of spontaneity into his life, trying unfamiliar restaurants, taking unplanned walks, and saying yes to invitations even when they disrupted his schedule. These small acts reignited his sense of adventure and helped him reconnect with parts of himself he had forgotten. Spontaneity doesn't mean recklessness. It means being open to possibilities beyond your carefully curated plans. It allows you to break free from monotony, challenge your assumptions, and discover new aspects of yourself. When you allow room for unpredictability, you create space for creativity, passion, and growth. Life isn't meant to be entirely scripted. Some of the most meaningful moments, the ones that shape who you become, come from decisions made in the spur of the moment. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something purely on impulse? When did you last step outside your comfort zone just to see what might happen? If the answer feels distant, it might be time to let go of some of your rigid structures and welcome a little more spontaneity into your life. Because sometimes, the best experiences aren't the ones you plan. They're the ones you stumble upon when you dare to deviate from the path. Number 5, finding your niche. Why conformity leads to unfulfilled lives. From childhood, society teaches us to follow a script: study hard, get a stable job, buy a house, settle down, and retire comfortably. We're encouraged to blend in, adhere to norms, and meet expectations. But what happens when the path everyone expects you to take doesn't align with who you truly are? Many people spend decades conforming to external pressures, only to wake up one day feeling disconnected from their own lives. The realization hits too late, that the life they built wasn't theirs to begin with. True fulfillment doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from discovering and embracing your unique niche. Consider the story of Maya, a high-achieving lawyer who excelled in school, graduated from a prestigious university, and landed a coveted position at a top law firm. She had checked off every box society deemed essential for success, but despite her accomplishments, she felt hollow. The long hours, endless paperwork, and cutthroat environment drained her joy. She tried convincing herself that satisfaction would come with promotions or higher pay, but nothing changed. It wasn't until she attended a community art class on a whim that she rediscovered a passion she had abandoned in childhood: painting. Maya had always loved art, but was discouraged from pursuing it professionally. Her parents pushed her toward a practical career, and she obeyed. Now, standing in front of a canvas for the first time in years, she felt something awaken inside her. She began painting regularly, sharing her work online, and eventually transitioned into freelance illustration. The shift wasn't easy. She faced financial instability and skepticism from friends and family, but for the first time in years, she felt alive. Her work resonated with others, and she found meaning in expressing herself creatively. Maya's journey highlights a universal truth: the expectations imposed by society rarely align with individual purpose. Many people chase careers, lifestyles, or relationships that feel expected rather than desired. They prioritize external validation over internal fulfillment, only to realize too late that they've spent years living someone else's dream. True happiness doesn't come from meeting arbitrary benchmarks. It comes from identifying what genuinely inspires and motivates you, regardless of whether it fits conventional molds. Discovering your niche isn't about grand gestures or sudden transformations. It starts with asking yourself honest questions. What activities make you lose track of time? What subjects spark curiosity? What values guide your decisions? These insights reveal the foundation of your authentic self. Embracing your uniqueness doesn't guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees a life lived with intention and meaning. Don't let fear of judgment or deviation from the norm dictate your choices. Your purpose isn't found in conformity, it's found in the intersection of your passions, strengths, and values. The longer you delay exploring what makes you uniquely you, the more likely you are to spend your life wondering what could have been. So, stop chasing what others expect and start uncovering what truly fulfills you, because your niche isn't waiting for you. You have to go out and claim it. Number 6, choosing passion over paycheck. The hidden cost of prioritizing money. For decades, people have been conditioned to believe that financial success equates to a successful life. The message is clear: choose a high-paying career, climb the corporate ladder, accumulate wealth, and happiness will naturally follow. But what happens when the paycheck is generous, yet the soul remains empty? Many spend years chasing financial security, only to reach their peak and realize they've sacrificed something irreplaceable: passion, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. Take the case of Daniel, a brilliant engineer who graduated at the top of his class and landed a lucrative job at a leading tech firm. His salary exceeded expectations, his benefits package was enviable, and his colleagues admired his technical expertise. Yet despite outward success, Daniel felt increasingly detached from his work. He had chosen engineering because it promised stability and prestige, not because it ignited his curiosity. He spent his days solving complex equations, optimizing systems, and attending meetings that left him mentally exhausted but emotionally numb. At first, he convinced himself that dissatisfaction was normal. Everyone experienced burnout eventually, but years passed and the emptiness persisted. He considered switching industries but hesitated, fearing financial loss. After all, he had a mortgage, student loans, and a growing family to support. The pressure to maintain his income kept him locked in a cycle of complacency. It wasn't until a close friend, a former musician who had abandoned his dreams to pursue finance, confided in him that Daniel began to question his own path. His friend described the slow erosion of passion, the way excitement dulled over time, replaced by the cold reality of numbers and spreadsheets. He spoke of nights spent staring at the ceiling, haunted by the thought of what could have been. The conversation struck a nerve. Daniel realized that he too was drifting further from the person he once envisioned himself becoming. He had prioritized financial security over personal fulfillment, and now, at 41, he questioned whether the trade-off had been worth it. Daniel's story is not unique. Countless professionals find themselves trapped in careers that provide comfort but lack meaning. The pursuit of wealth often comes at the cost of emotional well-being, creativity, and genuine satisfaction. Money can buy luxury, convenience, and status, but it cannot manufacture inspiration or a sense of purpose. Studies consistently show that beyond a certain threshold, where basic needs are met, additional income has diminishing returns on happiness. What truly drives fulfillment is engaging in work that aligns with one's values, interests, and passions. Choosing passion over money doesn't mean abandoning financial responsibility. It means recognizing that a paycheck alone cannot sustain long-term happiness. It means seeking work that challenges and excites you, that makes you eager to wake up in the morning. Whether it's teaching, writing, entrepreneurship, or craftsmanship, the right career path should nourish both your wallet and your spirit. If you find yourself questioning your current trajectory, ask yourself, would I still do this if money wasn't an issue? Does my work bring me a sense of accomplishment? Am I growing as a person, or am I merely surviving? These questions may not yield immediate answers, but they serve as a crucial reminder. Your time is limited, and spending it in a profession that drains you is a cost far greater than any salary can justify. Number 7. The illusion of shortcuts. Why doing things the hard way builds lasting success. In a world obsessed with efficiency, speed, and instant gratification, the mantra, "work smarter, not harder," has become gospel. It sounds logical. Why struggle when you can optimize? Why endure unnecessary hardship when innovation can streamline the process? But somewhere along the way, this philosophy has been twisted. Instead of refining strategies and improving methods, many interpret it as a green light to take shortcuts, skip foundational steps, and cut corners. The result? Fragile success built on shaky ground, destined to crumble under pressure. Consider the case of Jordan, a young entrepreneur eager to launch a digital marketing agency. He had seen influencers and business gurus promising overnight success, how to scale fast, automate everything, and bypass traditional struggles. Inspired, Jordan dove in, outsourcing content creation, buying pre-made templates, and using AI-generated copy to run campaigns for clients. At first, it seemed to work. Clients signed up, revenue flowed in, and Jordan projected an image of effortless success. But as demand grew, cracks appeared. Clients complained about generic content, competitors surpassed him with superior quality, and his team struggled to maintain consistency without proper training or strategy. Jordan had skipped the fundamentals, learning copywriting, understanding branding, mastering SEO, and building genuine client relationships. He assumed automation and delegation would compensate for his lack of hands-on experience. But without first-hand knowledge, he couldn't spot weaknesses in the work being done, nor could he troubleshoot effectively when things went wrong. Within a year, his business collapsed under the weight of its own shortcuts. This pattern plays out across industries. Students rely on cheat sheets and summaries instead of deeply understanding concepts, only to struggle when faced with complex applications. Employees focus solely on quick wins and superficial metrics, neglecting skill development that would make them indispensable. Entrepreneurs rush product launches without testing, only to face costly failures later. Shortcuts promise ease, but they rob you of resilience, adaptability, and mastery. True growth comes from enduring the process. Learning through trial and error builds intuition. Facing obstacles sharpens problem-solving skills. Struggling through challenges develops perseverance. There are no substitutes for experience. Even the most innovative minds didn't achieve greatness by skipping steps. They mastered the basics before reinventing them. If you want lasting success, resist the temptation to shortcut your journey. Invest time in learning, practicing, and refining your craft. Understand the mechanics behind your work, not just the surface-level execution. Build a foundation strong enough to withstand setbacks. Because when shortcuts fail, as they inevitably do, you'll be glad you did things the hard way. Number 8. Health habits, the lifelong investment you can't afford to delay. Imagine a version of yourself 10 years from now. What does that person look like? Are they energetic, sharp-minded, and physically strong? Or are they struggling with fatigue, weight gain, and preventable health issues? Most people assume they'll start taking care of their health later, believing that youth is an endless reserve of vitality. But the truth is, health doesn't decline overnight. It erodes gradually, often unnoticed until it's too late. And by then, reversing the damage becomes exponentially harder. Take the story of Mark, a successful entrepreneur in his early 30s who built a thriving business but neglected his well-being. He worked long hours, skipped meals, relied on caffeine and fast food, and barely found time for sleep. Exercise was an afterthought, and stress became his constant companion. He told himself he'd slow down once he reached certain milestones, once the company hit $1 million in revenue, once he expanded internationally. But as those goals came and went, so did his energy, focus, and overall health. By the time Mark turned 40, he was dealing with high blood pressure, chronic back pain, and severe anxiety. Doctors warned him that if he didn't change course, he would face serious consequences. That moment of reckoning forced him to reevaluate everything. He started incorporating small changes, daily walks, healthier meals, meditation. But the road to recovery was steep. Years of neglect had taken their toll, and rebuilding his health required more than just effort. It demanded discipline, patience, and consistency. Mark's experience isn't unique. Many people treat their bodies like machines, pushing them to perform without maintenance, only to be shocked when breakdowns occur. Health isn't something you can catch up on later. It's not like money, which you can save or invest at any stage of life. Once your body has suffered long-term damage, the cost of repair is far greater than the cost of prevention. The problem is that health improvements don't offer instant gratification. Eating better, exercising regularly, managing stress, and prioritizing sleep may not yield immediate results, making it easy to deprioritize them. But these habits compound over time, shaping not only how long you live, but how well you live. A daily 30-minute walk might seem insignificant today, but over decades, it drastically reduces the risk of heart disease. Cooking healthy meals consistently may feel tedious, but it prevents obesity, diabetes, and metabolic disorders. More importantly, health isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional too. Poor sleep affects cognitive function. Chronic stress impairs decision-making. Neglecting mental well-being leads to burnout, depression, and isolation. Every choice you make today influences your future self. If you wait until a crisis forces you to act, you've already fallen behind. So why do people procrastinate on health? Because the consequences feel distant. They believe they'll have time later to fix what they ignore now. But the reality is that your body doesn't reset at will. Every missed workout, every poor meal, every night of insufficient sleep chips away at your longevity and quality of life. The best time to start building healthy habits wasn't yesterday. It was today. Because tomorrow, it might be too late. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, do well to click like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more insightful videos. and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can be notified when next I post subsequent videos. See you on my next video. Bye.